"Here we are," Elle sang as she stepped outside with 2 glasses of red wine. She handed me a glass half full, and then clinked hers against it. "To an impromptu happy hour." With a dip of my chin, I smiled. "Why, thank you." Elle grinned, slid the screen shut, and took a sip from her glass before she sat on the lounge chair beside mine. I wasn't much of a wine drinker, at least, I didn't used to be. I'd always liked to hang out with the guys from my squad, drink beer, spit sunflower seeds at baseball games, and don't get me started about my competitive streak. I assumed those were real memories, but sometimes still questioned which parts of my mind were original and which had been tampered with. My time with JJ was all I knew for certain had been me, and I figured that's why I'd clung to her so much. It was why I loved her, even when she hadn't loved me back. Slowly, wine was becoming more enjoyable, though. Very slowly. Elle liked it, and I enjoyed Elle's company, so I tried to find things I appreciated about it. For instance, it was alcoholic and gave me a good buzz when I needed one. Drinking it made me feel different from who I was before, like I was truly starting over and becoming a person I was choosing, not who I was told or programmed to be. I took a tentative sip. "You don't like it," Elle observed with far too much amusement. I swished it around in my mouth, trying to get a real taste of it, the way we'd read a person is supposed to do in a book she'd found. Then I shook my head. "It tastes like sour jam, same as the one last time." Elle reached for my glass, still held between my fingers, to take it away. "Excuse you," I quipped. "I don't want you to be miserable," she said with a laugh. "I'll get some of Alex's brew from the fridge. He won't mind, and I know that's your preference anyway." "Elle," I said, sheltering my wineglass against my chest, "in the 3 years you've known me, have I ever turned an alcoholic beverage away?" Her green eyes brightened again, and she shook her head. Her dark hair brushed against her shoulders. "No, actually." She leaned back in her lounge chair. "Well, other than my partiality to moose jerky and my increasing fondness of children, nothing's changed. I'll drink it." With a contented grin, Elle closed her eyes and lifted her face to the afternoon sun as it peeked through the clouds. "Suit yourself." I settled back into the cushion and took another sip. There are subtle hints of cherry, which I like. "There you go, getting my hopes up again," she murmured. "I commend you for trying, though. I don't drink when Jackson is around. He says he doesn't mind my drinking, but I don't like to." I knew Jackson wasn't much of a drinker, at least not these days. Although I never heard the story, I got the feeling it was his vice, just like working was mine. I had no life outside of working with Ross to prove it. "Is that why we're drinking at 3 in the afternoon? Because you have the house to yourself?" I set my glass on the side table between us. "I never pegged you as much of a day drinker." Elle's lips parted into a small, knowing smile. "Only on special occasions, and an impromptu happy hour with my best friend, after her being away, is definitely one of them." Her eyes flitted open, and she peered out at the property that stretched around us. It was much the same as it had been when they'd built it, maybe with a few more animals and an additional pasture. The greenhouse was brimming with greenery, and I wasn't sure how Elle and Jackson kept up with all of it. "Let me guess. It's rough business without Jackson being home, huh?" Elle didn't have to answer. I knew her well enough now to know she was never whole without him. Not that she wasn't capable of being alone, because she definitely was. But she was anxious when he was away, especially knowing how increasingly dangerous it had become during the past couple of outings.